right into it here in the top right-hand corner of Beckett Industries. Give it up for the Protoss. It is Stats. And in the bottom left, in the blue, playing as the Terran pieces, it is Special. Right. Game number 1. Now this is the ESL Korean Open. It's number 66, I believe. So, round of 4. And one of these players will move on to the finals. Let's see which one that is. Now, Stats definitely been doing really well. Been seeing Special pop up a lot lately. He has been doing... It's weird. He does okay. And then there's times where it feels like he has a lot of trouble. He's a really good player. He's been working really hard. Has been improving. But I don't know if maybe because he does, I guess, some unorthodox style plays. It does feel like overall he struggles. So we'll see how things go here in this series as Special. Going to be able to at least push the probe back, as he is going to finally be able to get that CC down. Probe 4 Stats will be turned back home, as he has some expansion. He's got that Cybernetics core up and going. And behind the Reaper, we are going to have a reactor, so no additional Marine. Going to instead go for the quicker supply depot to kind of block everything in. This is really nice, especially if the Protoss is going to be going into a quick Zealot play. We're super aggressive with Stalkers. You can kind of hold them from getting into your main base. Adept coming out for the Protoss. Second Adept on the way. Definitely could be going into some Stargate behind this. Doesn't think it's going to be a Twilight Council, though. We've actually seen a lot of Protosses start doing this, where they kind of give this illusion of, hey, I'm going into the Adept style play whenever they end up going, or that they're going to go into Stargate. What I'm trying to get at. And then end up going into something else. It is a nice way to kind of pull everything around. We'll see if he can trick Special. Now, Special does like to open up with Reapers, or excuse me, with Marines and a Cyclone. It allows him to, excuse me, allows him to be a little bit more defensive against any kind of Stargate play, as well as just in case they aren't going to go into that heavy stalker and that. Thank you for the raid, Alpha X. Appreciate it. Sorry, my voice is a little kind of messed up for a second. We just got done cooking, so if you guys missed that, you guys want to watch it, you guys are free to. So I had a little bit of the fried chicken that we made in my throat. So, but we are getting still in this. This is the first match of Stats versus Special, and we've got Blink on the way for Stats. And behind this, just getting, a couple of Stalkers. He has a beautiful robotics facility with that Warp Prism coming through. Stats is definitely one of those ones that will go for like these Blink plays. Straight into the main, just continue to be, since harassing when he does this style of play. Now he is going to start going up towards the third base location, or where the third base would normally be. However, we do see Terrans and really kind of just go into this. I think overall it's easier to defend up here because there is a smaller choke, as well as down here you can kind of just wall that off. But Stalkers and the Adept's going to start going into the natural. Special with the bunker, just going to be more than protected. But again, Blink is now done. Warp Prism is here, so he will be able to actually warp in more Stalkers, more Zealots, more Adepts, wherever he wants to go with. It is going to be Stalkers. He does have a tank on the way. A tank just popped out, actually, for Special here on the main base. As we do see the Stalkers starting to get into the natural. The tank now sieged up onto the low ground. As Stats will go ahead and warp in some more units behind this. He's got a Forge on the way. Stats going into Stim. Still not done, as he is losing the bunker. Another bunker trying to be made here, but the Stalkers just in range will be able to at least kill that off. Does give Special a little bit of a kind of trouble of happening. So far, 3 SCVs have gone down for Special. As Stats going to go ahead and continue up towards the top. Now, there isn't another tank down here, or up at the top, so it has the potential to get some damage done there. War Prism is going to go into the main base with the Stalkers and just continue to harass, try to force a out-of-position play from Special. Picks up the War Prism, going to get out. Then we should see the Stalkers come up there, but I think he's going to go ahead and back up. Does have the third base, though. He's been on the third base for a while. He's adding on additional gateways, 6 to be exact. Well, he has +1. He's got charge on the way, shield batteries, everything that you could really want. Special does still have the Raven, though. He's got Stim just about finished up, as well as +1 done, or about halfway done. Kind of where he wants to go from here. Storm on the way for Stats, and really feels like he's kind of kept Special contained here. Special still just on 2 bases. It's adding on more barracks and trying to, I guess, now move out. But really, this is the first time Special's been able to be on the map. Already, War Prism is in position. There's already Stalkers here. Nothing gonna be able to get done here. Special does force the Stalkers back, so that's good. And I mean, really, if you're Special, you're just trying to build out. You really have to. I mean, you look at the bases here. Special really oversaturated. He hasn't been able to get a third base up. He really doesn't even have the money for it at the moment. He is going to be building up quite a big force. The 74 army to 63 is going to be mainly Zealots, and we do have those Templar. Storm is done, so really is going to put some strain and some possible struggle here against Special. He hasn't started. Nice. Let's get the anti-armor missile. War Prism going to pick up the High Templar, going to allow them to get in a better position. Going to drop the High Templar and be able to get storms going off. Some beautiful storms go off. The Zealots getting on top of the Marines of Special. Special definitely in some trouble. He is going to be able to clean up the Zealots, but with more Zealots warping in, Stats starting to pull ahead. Somehow, though, Special's still ahead in supply as far as army goes. He doesn't have the worker count because he has been stuck on that 2-base economy, but somehow still manages to hold this back. Does need to kind of sit back. There is still storms available from these High Templar. Does Special keep pushing into this? He's finally got that third base on the way. It's almost done. +2 on the way for the Protoss, though. Ooh, gets the Raven. Nice pickup there from Stats. Special, though, going to be coming in with the SCVs. Beautiful storms just tearing through the army here of Special. But I think Special still just has enough here. He's going to start pushing into this. He's going to siege up with the Liberators, with the tanks. Stats coming in with the Zealot charge. Going to get Blink on top of the tanks. Getting on top of all of the army here of Special. And just eliminating it. GG's. As Stats takes game number 1. Spawning here in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres. Give it up for the Protoss is Stats. Bottom left in the blue, playing as the Terran pieces. Give it up is Special. Alrighty, so game number 2. As we get into it here. I don't know, man. Special. We talked about it last time, you know. He does some good builds. Obviously, he's had a very strong opinion for a while about Protoss and in general just not liking to play against them. And against the Titan-like stats, it definitely makes it tougher, right? So, last game, see him open up pretty normal going into Reaper through, you know, everything else. And he's been opening up with this Marine Cyclone style. Sometimes it's really nice against Stargate. Sometimes it does feel like it struggles against like link openers and stuff like that. It has its merits, but as we saw, it was a tough fight for him. Stats, on the other hand, being more aggressive than normal. Sometimes we see Stats as a kind of a defensive player, and not necessarily like a reactive player like a Zerg or something, but we do see that he really kind of took the initiative there. He got into the blink, he went straight across, really forced Special to stay on a 2-base economy. Well, he built up his third, he got Storm, he got the tech units that he wanted. Special tried to come in with some drops, but Stats just really held it off. And then, you know, it looked really good for Special, but Stats, in your fashion, was able to kind of hold things off, eventually push everything back. The storms were really huge, and was just able to eviscerate the army of Special. Now, here in game number 2, you'll see more of that coming out from these players. You see Special going into the Reaper, while Stats just kind of roaming around with his probe. Will eventually go to the watchtower. He calls the probe home, keeping it alive while it counts down. So, we will see some more blink plays coming out from Stats. Love to see it as we actually see a little bit of a change up. Special going into double Reaper Hellion. We're looking to get some damage. Got the Depth Stalker coming out from Stats. Going to be going into blink. I like it. Behind this, we will be seeing a Widowmine play coming out from Special. It is one of the builds he likes to do, you know, at least once in the series, twice in the series if he can help it. Gets 2 probes for 2 Reapers, and not really worth it, unfortunately, but he is able to at least get some scouting off, sees the gateways, able to see the Twilight Council. Does not see the robotics facility as that is put down, and Special just going to be going in bunker. Now Stats going to be taking his 3rd base. Those Protosses that does like to go back into that kind of 3-base style. For a while it felt like that was what Protosses would do. They just take a 3rd base real quick and they were fine. Terran started getting more aggressive, and so Protoss kind of changed their style, as they should. Widowmine's looking to come in here, but the medevac going to get shooed away by Stats. Honestly, I think he waits until the boosts are back. Goes to the main, but we'll see. Raven on the way in tanks, but again, Stats is one of those players that really can do well just sitting back, defending, just eliminating the army and then going for an attack. So see where he wants to go in this game. He is going to be going into the observers. Finally kind of get some information of what's going on. Raven's going to be coming up towards the top and potentially trying to look to get some kills on the probes, but Adept's on the way for Stats, going across the map, and wants to, you know, just kind of poke and prod. There are tanks here, though, Marines, everything that he will really need. Alright, so Observer's going to be going into the main. Yep, just kind of making sure if anything does come across. There are already just stalkers everywhere. Really kind of forcing special in these weird situations. Raven was forced back home. And now, stats. Just starting to build up those gateways. Going back into Storm, very much just the same build from the previous game. I think that's one of the things you can really kind of count on stats. It's just, he is very consistent. But he does a lot of the same builds too, so I think it kind of is what makes him strong as well. So, Marines coming across. We do have Widow Mines and a tank. Looks like he's going to try to go down to this third base location, even though there's nothing there. The thing too is like, what's up there? The thing too is like, really good plays coming out from specials. Just trying to get a couple of plays. Oh, just a giant storm. Really going to eliminate a lot of the Marines and stuff coming out here from special. He's going to go straight into the main base, though, trying to at least get on top of whatever he can. Eventually does get cleaned up. Only kills off 5 probes, maybe a handful of workers. The tank is still in position, going to give a scan. And looks like he's going to try to build up as he's pushing more units across the map here. Tank actually going to return back home. Let's give a scan, sees where the army is. Now going to go straight into the main base. May try to force a recall, but there is Storm. Feedbacks do go down. It's going to transform into Archon. And eventually just going to have to get backed up. I mean, stats really just playing on top of his game. And especially if you're in a round of 4, if you're in the semis, it's definitely where you want to be at. Special though, with his third base. And again, he's just continuously trying to pressure, he's continuously trying to deal damage. And sometimes I feel like that does hurt special. Sometimes I feel like he's a little too aggressive and he just doesn't get the damage done that he really wants. But he definitely is a Terran that's not afraid to take risks. Chance. So, Ghost on the way for special. Does have a Ghost Academy with that Shockwave upgrade coming through. The other side, we see stats actually starting to send across a few Zealots, just kind of putting them out on the map as well, just to make sure, hey, to make sure if you're doing any drops or anything, I can see you. Looks pretty solid. 4th base on the way, huge warp into Zealots in a base situation. Wow. True. I think he might try to do another push. And see this very heavy, like, Zealot style of play. Disruptors on the way, as well as a Dark Shrine, so really just kind of opening everything up. And then I'd actually be pretty good. I mean, special is doesn't have the most energy. He's got enough for 2 scans, I think. Going on to a 3rd scan here. So I guess he does have that option, but also he doesn't have any like missile turrets in him. So 1 scan. 5 stalkers on the way. We got +2 on the way as well. 4 stats says it does look like now special really wants to start pushing into this. Feedback goes off onto the medevac, trying to split. Good splits against the Storms. Special trying to push in towards the 3rd base. Going to try to lock the Protoss out on the 4th base. Blinking forward though with the stalkers. We'll be able to get it. These Ghosts though in the back. Storms just going off on all of this army, and the Storms just killing. Everything that special has, he's going to go ahead and remove back home. And a lot of the High Templar now are getting very low, going to have to drop out. And with the blink forward with the stalkers here, stats just starting to push ahead. Special fighting with all of his life to try to stay in this, but cannot do it. GG's. Stats takes game number 2. we see Special just kind of playing it standard this time. No proxy. Aggressive so far. And Stats definitely looking around for a proxy. Special is one of those players that will try to go for like a 2 racks. He'll try to bunker rush. He'll do whatever he can sometimes to win. Here, Stats. We'll eventually go across the map. Scout. Maybe try to be annoying. Now, because he did go for proxies, for proxy hunting, the barracks will finish up in time. Probe will make it in time to kind of shut down the CC, but looks like he's just going to go into the main base. It's going to be Marine first from Special. He's going to go straight into Factory. I almost feel like he's going to go up to like BCs, and I know it's kind of unorthodox, but would that be something you would want to do here? No. Steps on the way. You have a warp game, the expansion coming down for stats. Side Special just going into that kind of reactor, Marine style, getting into a cyclone. Well, that counts all on the way. I think we just kind of see the same thing. I mean, it really has been Stats just playing the same style, getting the Adepts, going into Blink, eventually going up to Storm, and again, Storm has just been really kind of killing off Special. Like, he's been taking so much damage, and it's like it feels like he's almost just not microing against it, but I think everything else, I mean, he's getting some damage done. I almost feel like a lot of times he's overextending this series. But when you're playing against someone like Stats, I guess you really have to be aggressive, right? Proxy Starport. Going to be going into potentially like a Hellion drop here. The way once again for Stats. He's going to throw down those additional gateways. Has the robotics facility on the way. And the first Hellion going to be making its way across the map. Probe's going to get pulled to try to deal with this. And yeah, gets a couple of kills. Eventually, I think loses. No. Well, he might lose the Hellion here, but he's got more units going across the map. Going to go into the natural. The Marine's going to start focusing down onto the pylon. Actually starting to get quite a few kills here. 5 probes. 6 probes. Oh man, finally getting some damage done. Special. Looking really good here. The blink in. Stalkers, or the warp in, excuse me. Won't be good. Marine's going to get picked up into the medevac, kind of pushed back as Stats starts going across with his Stalkers. He's got Blink almost finished up. Stalkers trying to get on top of the medevac. Oh no. Okay. Going to blink in, or excuse me, warp. It's going to fly in with the medevac. Marine's going to start focusing down the probes once again. Medevac does end up falling, but an additional amount of probes will go down, trying to focus down onto the Stalkers, but Stats will eventually clean this up. Probe's going to help out with it, but another 6. But is that really worth it? I mean, he lost quite a bit there. I think it may be still kind of good, considering he was able to kill off a few probes. Warp Prism is on its way across the map to warp in some Stalkers. And imagine he just kind of blinks in, right? You have a tank down on the low ground. No tank on the high ground yet. Does have bunkers though, so it's very much kind of like the last game. Gonna blink forward. Let's take a couple of shots from the tank. We'll force the SCV pulls here. I mean, Special doing a really good job this time. He's got the tanks coming out. he's really in a good defensive position, especially against kind of what Stats is wanting to do. Even gonna throw up the missile turrets here. DT Shrine on the way for the Protoss. See what Special does from here. Still just trying to be as aggressive as possible. You see Stats finally going to make it to the natural. And let's see, make it out. Just barely makes it out. But he's medevac. Does not want to give the option. Linking forward. Still the War President gets out. Loses the medevac. Loses a few Marines. Special definitely in some trouble. He does have missile turrets up all over the place though. So any kind of DT play may have some trouble succeeding. That charge on the way. Third base finally coming through as well, as we do see finally a being morphed in. Just one. Stalker's looking to go up towards the natural once again. We'll be able to kind of see what is going on all together. Stim and combat shields on the way for Special. They're about halfway done. +1 just now finishing up. I mean, that +1's really going to help against these attacks. The DTs. I mean, the Viking is right there. Missile turret. There's no way he gets in there. Tanks moving forward. Does look like the third base finally coming down for Stats. We have Sentries and Stalkers and stuff coming through, and I mean, Stats really does want to get in there with the DTs. But it does feel like right now he's not going to be able to. I mean, maybe if he goes right here now, would be okay. A whole lot of energy, actually. No scans. Oh, that one maybe, but there we go. DT's finally going to warp in. Started working onto the SCVs. 9 SCVs, 10 SCVs do go down. A scan across the map does see a warp in of units. Oh, he did that scan. He has no scans in the. Okay, there it is. Oh. Okay. And he's still alive though. Out of scans here. We'll be able to at least kill off the War Prism, so these DTs will be left to fend for themselves. Eventually will get cleaned up. God, he's still able to make it out. Stats. Special though, still getting that third base up and running. Eventually will get cleaned up. Taken care of here. Special does have an army advantage. Does that's it go into that DT play. A lot of it was him just kind of him putting a lot of resources into it. So doesn't have the most army. We do see a nice little zealot run by coming across. It looks like Special is now ready to attack. He's going to get intercepted here by these stalkers, by the huge zealot push, and Guardian shields go down. Will at least force Stats back, but definitely needs to be careful. Disruptor's on the way. Looking pretty good for Special, but as I say, I was looking pretty good for Special, but he's only got 45 workers. Doesn't have the best army. A lot of this is in medevac, as well as his units are pretty low. Disruptors are now out. There's another 13 SCVs killed off. Looks like down here, maybe some more details. Let's see. With the disruptors out now, and with the fourth base, Stats definitely looking all right. Like, he is behind, I guess, in army count, but overall not too bad. Oh yeah, it was the zealot run by. That's +2 on the way. So he wants to go for another medevac drop here, and I guess that's okay. But he's really going towards where the army is here. Stats and special. I guess he's going to go around and try to drop up here, which is what he needs. He needs to kind of shut down these extra bases, shut down the economy. But with DT Blink coming through, with another Forge coming for additional trades, does he have Storm? I have Storm. I guess that's kind of like the next step. It's 1 kill. Cleaned up. Kind of unfortunate. There we go. Stats gonna be coming in with his additional units, right? He's got the Disruptors, he's got the Stalkers, he's got a really high Zealot count. And okay. Apparently his stats didn't realize that was still there. Able to get another 6, but I just wonder if it's even gonna matter. Trying to focus down the Disruptors. Does get the one that almost took out his whole army. Force back once again. Now, TT Blink is now complete. Got +2 almost done for stats. Special does have +2 almost completed now, and he has Ghost on the way. Sending down a small force to the bottom. Stats has this top basically on lockdown. He'll be able to get some damage done at the bottom. It does look like Stats will be able to finally kind of see this going on. Warp in some more units. He's on the way. Focusing down onto the Disruptors. Huge play! Kind of giving the focus down at the bottom. And yeah, I mean, he needs to get out from here, but he's going to lose quite a bit of army in doing so. I'm trying to get up towards the top, not able to do so. And hate to see that DT going to be used pretty effectively here. Having to use up scans, unfortunate. Still not able to get all of those DTs. Will be returned back home. He's got the 4th base trying to fly over, but with all of this army from Stats coming, you almost wonder if he can do it. +3 is on the way for Stats, and Special is going, or excuse me, for, well, both of them are going for +3. But we do actually see more like sensor towers, more units coming across for Special as he is trying to kind of retain this. And the thing too is, like, right now, overall, his army count is better, but we look at the armies here, right? It's very Stalker heavy, Zealot, kind of this tanky army. Like, a lot of his resources, a lot of his stuff is going to be into ETs, it's going to be into the Disruptors. He wants to land those big shots with the Disruptors. They're kind of like the Storm in this situation. As long as Special is able to shut that down, I think he could do it. I mean, he's got Ghost now with the Shockwave upgrade coming through. So, what's to say that he shuts that down completely? ETs will be a little bit of a problem. He does now starting to get some scans, so that will help out. And also with the EMPs being able to kind of allow him to see the DTs. EMPs do go off, gonna force a pickup, just getting totally surrounded here. Especially gonna go into the main base. Stats will eventually have to go into main. He does recall, and just gonna sandwich this all together is really kind of what his goal is. Another couple good EMPs go off. We'll force a couple of kills on the Stalkers, but with more Stalkers joining into the force, he is going to have to back up. Gets a full medevac kill. Stats will start pulling a little bit ahead here. I mean, they're even in worker count right now. Stats takes a 5th base. The Special's just now, like, really kind of going 4th. He's got a 5th base on the way, which is nice, but I don't know. It gets really tough, right? When you get into this kind of, I guess, late game situation, like, you really have to start picking these fights as the Terran, and just a huge wraparound is on its way. Well, he's actually going to send DTs through. Going to send a big attack. Zealots, a little bit of a run by it at the top. Stats, looking to kind of finish this out. Special does have a nice army, but it's all the way across the map. EMPs, the Zealots, but there's just too many Zealots here. And yeah, I mean, he's going to hold on to this top area, but I mean, really, Stats is just going around it at this point. I mean, I like this special, definitely starting to pull, like, further and further into that 4th or 5th base. But yeah, just so much damage. 21 SCVs going down. These DTs have just been so crucial. And with more and more Zealots making their way across. Stats is really just saying, Special, you need to come back home and defend this, or I'm just going to continue to bombard you. And Special once again is doing a good job of at least microing against the disruptors and trying to push in, but yeah, it's just one of those situations where it's like Stats is really trying to force the hand here of Special. Guardian Shield goes up, blinking forward, kills the last tank, and we will see those Zealots start going in. Stalker's following Sword. Picks up a good chunk of the army, still trying to push in towards this 5th base. ETs are still moving across the map. Going to be able to get on top of the natural, though, here is Stats. And the Marines might be able to clean some of this up. The tank on the high ground might be able to help. And, you know, he may eventually get this, but it looks like all the tanks are kind of out at this point. It's going to get on top of the disruptors, blinking forward with the DTs. And Stats going to be victorious